Welcome to the Chris G Show. We're back. I'm excited. Last week's show was fun. Felt good to get back on the mic. You know what I mean? Felt really good. Since I left the other group that I was doing a podcast with, all those other clips you would probably see on my Instagram, those from another podcast that I did. Tip my hat to those guys. Good luck to them. But this is the Chris G Show. This is the new stuff. All right? We're here. We're having fun. Last night, I had a comedy show. I did a comedy show at a winery in Louisville. That was fun. I did a Hot 10. Mr. Barry was there. He's a killer in the community. Mr. Barry Whitewater killed it as usual. Miss Amanda French and Aaron Stout was there. Sarah Prey. They all did great. Everybody killed. I had fun. It was good to get out there and get that energy, that laugh from the crowd. That's what we as, upcoming comedians, that's the high we're chasing. We're chasing that high, that making the crowd laugh. I'm in this to make the crowd laugh. I'm not in this for any I want to be accepted by my peers, of course, but I'm not in the comedy stand-up scene. I'm not going to kiss anybody's butt. I'm not going to beg anybody. I'm going to network like a normal human being, and I'm going to try to make connections like normal people do, But the comedy show was great. Had fun with that. Moving on. I want to talk about, a friend of mine brought up in the group chat, my first car that I owned. And I wanted to present a question to you, DM me or leave it in the comments, wherever it may be. Talk about your first car that you ever owned, what that meant to you, the energy it gave you. How did you get it? Did you earn it? Did you buy it? Did your parents help you out with it? Was it a new car? Was it a gutter car? Was it a used one? My first car that I got was a 1995 Dodge Stratus. I drive a Dodge Stratus. Remember that SNL skit, Will Ferrell? It was a Dodge Stratus, burgundy red. And I was 16 years old when I got that car. And it was a beautiful thing, man. That car represented freedom. That car represented freedom. I'm over here Instagramming people. I'm doing a show here. Let's be professional. That car represented freedom. And especially since I was living in Oklahoma at the time, not in Chicago, you have to have a car to go somewhere. Otherwise, you're stuck in the sticks. And when my dad helped me out getting that car, I remember one weekend I saved up money. I worked at Sonic or something when it was $5.15 an hour, and I saved up a bunch of money, birthday money, Christmas money. My dad probably helped me out a little bit with some extra money. I drove up to Norman, Oklahoma. This was probably 2001, 2, something like that. And I drove up to Norman, Oklahoma, went to the Best Buy in Norman, Oklahoma, bought myself a Sony stereo player to put in the car because at the time I think it was only a cassette player. In 1995, it was only a cassette player. And then I bought 2 subwoofers. What were they called? MX something, 10-inch subwoofers back when everybody had to have subs, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, put those in the back of the Stratus. Riding through the rural country town, banging. And the CD I bought when we were at Best Buy, I bought the system, had it installed, waited around. They got it done in a few hours. I'm only 16 years old. I'm doing this just whatever. And bought the new Project Pat, Mr. Don't Play album. Oh my goodness. Do you remember the first CD you played when you had a little system in your car? You had your own little car, and the first CD that you bought and you played bumping in that car nonstop, man, Project Pat was ahead of his time. Shout out Project Pat. Huge fan, 3-6 Mafia. Hypnotized Minds. I played that Project Pat out. You know what I mean? Love that. She's a chicken head. Okay. Might have to edit that one out, but nah, we're keeping it in. But yeah, what did your first car represent to you? What did it mean? You know, where were you at the time? Where were you living at the time? And was your car an escape? You know, could you just go out and cruise and blow off steam? And I remember I had that 95 Dodge Stratus. I would go out drag racing a quarter mile with other, you know, guys in Oklahoma with their trucks and stuff. And, you know, that was fun. And I used to, whenever there was a break in school, you know, whether it was, you know, spring break or Thanksgiving break, Christmas break, I immediately, as soon as the bell rung in high school, I had my bags packed. I drove straight back to Chicago for all my breaks to go visit all my friends and spend holidays with them because, you know, we'll get into why I did that later, some other time. But that's what I did. That car meant I can travel across state. I go through Missouri and Springfield, Illinois, and take Interstate 44 up and hit 55 in Illinois, and next thing I know, I'm on Lakeshore Drive in Chicago or 294, about to hit the boys' spot. Driving all night too. I'll do it in 9 hours straight. You know, I was 16 back then. I could take that beating and still party when I arrived. But there was one. Well, I'll get into it when my buddy calls. But yeah, there was one night I went up. Winter storm got the best of me. And I wrecked her beyond repair, and I had to let her go. And after that, my dad said, no more. No more. You're driving all the gutter vehicles I got. So for the rest of my high school, like sophomore year, junior year, it wasn't until the end of senior year my dad finally bought me a newer car. And but I had to drive like a beat-up cargo van that was black, and it looked like you would definitely steal kids, you know, lure them in with candy and kidnap them. It was, but I took it with pride. We did some pranks with that van. And, you know, I remember after that, I would just drive anything that was available. You know, my dad had an old 94 box Jeep Cherokee I used to drive around. Fuel pump went out on that. He had an old 76 Monte Carlo with a, you know, candy painted red, you know, and with a white leather top on it, and I would swing that thing around, big swings, big turns. Loved that car. And then he finally, when I was a senior in high school, getting ready to graduate and not go to college, he bought me a brand new Nissan Xterra, and that thing lasted a long time, boy. And man, I took that out to West Texas when I worked on oil rigs and took that everywhere, to Chicago. A lot of people remember that, but the first car I ever had was a 95 Dodge Stratus, and that gave me the wheels to move around and escape, and just, it was a beautiful thing. So just wanted to present that to you, a little nostalgic hit. Tell me a little bit about your first car, who bought it for you, you know, what that meant to you, the tunes you used to bump in it. You know, this was back when we would burn CDs and make our own playlists and stuff like that. It was a beautiful, beautiful time, beautiful era. So, moving on from that, music. Let's talk music. You know, Drake dropped an album last week, For All the Dogs. Got some love, good stuff. But there was one critic that didn't enjoy it, Joe Budden. Joe Budden said something critiquing it. Because, you know, I mean, if you don't know Joe Budden, he's an old rapper from the early 2000s. He had a couple hits on Def Jam. I was a fan of Joe Budden back then, you know. He never had the mega hit. He had hits. He was more of a rapper's rapper, a lyricist. And, you know, he fell into, he started doing, oh, we got a call. It's Big Mike coming in. Big Mike, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, man?
He's here. He's here with us. I was just talking about my first car that I had.
And yeah, wonderful time.
Presenting the people with, you know, they can leave a comment in the comments about, you know, what that first car meant to them. You know, What was that feeling like when you got your first set of wheels and that allowed you to be free and roam around, whatever state you were living in, whatever city you were in at the time, and just like, we don't have that feeling anymore because we've been driving for, decade and a year now and so many years, and it just doesn't, we don't even think about it like that anymore. But talk about, you remember my 95 Dodge Stratus. I used to come up to Chicago and visit you all the time, and
Yeah.
remember that thing? I had the system in it. I was telling the people the first CD I drove up to Norman, Oklahoma, went to Best Buy and bought my own sound system with it. The first CD I bought was the Project Pat, Mr. Don't Play. Beat the hell out of those subs. What was the first car you ever had?
I had a excuse me. I had a '94 Jeep Cherokee. It was black. It had a little bit of leather interior, like a little bit of sunroof. It was awesome. That was a real good feeling. You get that independent feeling. I mean, I was a little later. I didn't get a car till I was 18. I didn't get a license till I was 18, so I wasn't 16, but it was 18, and it just felt like you were like certified. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was something that would get you attention. That was something that gets you out wherever you want to go, whenever you want to go. I mean, it was a beautiful feeling.
Yeah, and would you say that in your group of friends, were you one of the first ones to get wheels, or?
No. Maybe in like a very smaller immediate group, but in like the larger friend group, no, I was actually probably one of the later ones. A lot of them got it at 16.
Yeah.
And I just didn't get a license till 18.
And that was back in the Fast and the Furious era where people were ripping Hondas and Lancers and shit. Yeah, you were running around with some of those guys and shit. I remember that.
Yeah, that was that was a real popular thing. Was the race car era with the lights and the loud muffler and all that. Yeah.
Blowing stop signs.
Yeah, I remember having a nice stereo system. I remember having a couple subs. It didn't last very long though.
Right.
Because my first car was stolen from me.
Mm-hmm.
I had parked it outside my guy's house, and we came out after like a game of like MLB or something, the show, and it was gone. And like, yeah, they stole my car and they stripped it down, and it was a real rude awakening to the realities of the city.
Yeah. Growing up, man. That's wild. I never had a car stolen, but I have wrecked a car beyond repair, and you were with me for that one time. So I just want to.
Yeah, that was.
I'm just gonna tell that story real quick. So I was up there. We were visiting Chicago. The day was perfect. It was a beautiful day, and I think we went to the Harlem and Irving Mall over there, the hip mall, and the weather was fine, right? We weren't really concerned. We were doing what teenagers did at the time. Went to the mall, hung out, hit the food court, arcades, whatever, bought something. And next
it was cold, I know, because it was December-ish. It was around Christmas.
Right. It was cold, but there wasn't a winter storm yet. But we were in the mall. We were in the mall for like a couple hours. And when we came out of the mall, the weather changed tremendously. I mean, it had the temperature dropped, it had rain. It snowed, it was slush on the ground, all that stuff. We took off driving. What were we going down? Oak Park or something? Headed towards
Forest Preserve Drive, man.
Forest Preserve Drive, you know it better than I do. But we were just cruising and we were going around a little bend there, and next thing I know, I look up and there's a whole string of cars just, brakes on, sitting at the light, and I'm like, oh shit. I tapped on the brake, or I stomped on the brake at the time and hit a patch of black ice or whatever, and we just slid, dude. We probably slid for a good 30 yards, right? We knew it was coming.
Yeah, we had a second to adjust where it was like, oh man, we're gonna hit. Like you could tell, so it was like, brace yourself for impact. We weren't going super fast.
Nah.
There wasn't an injury situation really.
Nah.
But like it was fast enough where like the damage was gonna be bad, and it was.
Yeah, I mean, we were probably going about 30, 35, if that. But the slide, once you start sliding, it don't matter. There's nothing you can do. I tried to yank the wheel to pop the curb and run into that little patch of land that was to the side there, and nothing catch, couldn't get no traction, and we slammed right into the other car, and I think the other car in front of us slammed into the car in front of them, and somebody took off driving because they didn't have the proper paperwork or something, and then we were just left there kind of in shock, and it was like the weather was still coming down at us. It was cold as fuck. Music was playing. It was just a wild thing, and like cops didn't show up for like 20, 25 minutes. Some weird insurance guy ran up on us. Hey, you need help, blah, 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 you know?
We were young.
We were young.
We were young at the time.
I had to get my uncle.
I remember having to ditch the weed.
We might have been riding dirty. We may have.
It was like, oh, you gotta get rid of that.
Statutes of limitations.
It wasn't active. We weren't actively participating, but it was in the area.
We had to ditch it. But you know, we learned from that. Uncle Randy had to come and pick me up. And that call to my dad that night wasn't fun, but you know, and I was telling the people that from that point on, my dad said, "You're driving whatever beat up car that's sitting around the house." So, but yeah, moving forward from that, I started getting into this music, and well, I was touching on real quick the beef between Joe Budden and Drake, and how Joe Budden just said something critiquing Drake about how he's just making music for kids, right? Didn't he say something like that?
Yeah, it was something along the lines of that. Just like kind of being stuck in 25, and it's like 25-year-old. But I mean, Drake mentions it on the album about dating someone 25 and stuff like that. So it wasn't like straight up out of left field by Joe. It was kind of referencing something from the album.
And then that prompted, that must have cut deep on Drake, because he wrote a whole essay about Joe Budden and his rap career and how it didn't, reach the heights of a Drake. And, so, it's just a big back and forth thing. And, I don't know, I just explaining to people, Joe Budden is more, he started, his podcast game with Complex Magazine and, with DJ Academics. And then he kind of got his own thing with Spotify. And, you probably listen to Joe way more than I do.
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about Joe's opinion on the rap game? Like, is he a good voice? Yeah.
I think he's got pretty level-headed takes on the culture. That's the word they use. Everyone uses now. I think he's pretty good. I think he's lived it. He's experienced it, right? He knows a lot of these dudes personally, so I think it's pretty level-headed critiques. It's not like the academics thing where like he's gonna go like just tear someone down to tear someone down,
Yeah, and he hasn't ever been in the game himself. That's what you get when you are a podcaster and a critiquer in the rap and hip hop game. You are going to end up having to face some of these people you're talking about, some of these rappers you're talking about. It's not like sports. Sports you critique, that's, there's tons of shows that talk about sports, but in the rap and hip hop world, this is kind of a new area within the last 10 years of, people commenting on albums or music videos or where their career is going or what that music video, what they said or what, you know what I'm saying? This is kind of a new thing that's been going on besides for Narwhal doing it forever. But Narwhal was just doing interviews. He wasn't critiquing people's work, but, go ahead.
Society in general, I think we've reached a point over the last 10 years or so where, everyone is going to have an opinion, and we all have avenues afforded to us to express those opinions. And I think, like, that even works for, like, rappers. So, like, someone like Joe Budden, who maybe his career wasn't where it needed to be at the time, or he's disinterested in the industry, he could go ahead and take his opinion to a microphone and take it to the internet. And there's no telling nowadays with your opinion in the internet. It can take you to new heights. And I think everyone kind of feels emboldened by that these days,
Absolutely. So, and then, with the rappers and the hip hop folk hearing this stuff, they're going to be very personal about it. Cause now, you're critiquing somebody that, whether or not, you're talking about mumble rappers or real artists or this and that. They are still putting their heart into a project. And when they hear something, they're going to get emotional about it. They're going to, take that personal. You know what I'm saying? So, and
Yeah.
it's not like in sports where, somebody has a down game or it doesn't come through, they can come back out the very next game and prove them wrong, right? Well, in the rap world, albums are few and far between. I mean, I guess you could drop a single or something there and then, show the world that you got better or whatever, but it's just a little bit different. So people are going to take that a little differently.
Yeah, it's a little different. And like the way when we were kind of coming up listening to rap, where you could go to a mixtape and you could drop a freestyle that next day. You could address something that just happened the day before. You could do your beef or whatever you need to do. It used to there was more avenues for artists back in the day. Not that far back in the day, but back in the day. Nowadays, every release has to kind of be on streaming. Every release has to be cleared. You got to have the samples cleared. You got to have all this stuff taken care of mumbo jumbo wise. So like the avenue's not there anymore for someone to come out and just drop something as quick anymore. And I think that kind of has an effect with like the podcast and then someone taking offense to what someone else is saying. It would get handled on a freestyle like the next day back like in the early 2000s. And that just isn't the case anymore.
Absolutely. Well, moving on from that, let's talk about this new music we got last night, West Side Gun. And Then You Pray For Me. We've been waiting for this one. And
yeah.
I went through it pretty well, pretty good. It's got production by Beat Butcher, Tay Keith, Conductor, Derringer, everybody. I mean, there's so much collaboration on this. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't think there's anybody in the game right now that can cultivate a album and put together features and stuff better than West Side Gun at this point. He knows his audience, he knows his aim, he knows the sound, and he puts it all together like probably better than anybody else. I don't see any other albums that really flow this well and kind of like deliver. And even if maybe it's not ascending to different heights, it's still delivering quality stuff. And it's been like this for just about every release from him.
Yes. And for those who don't know, West Side Gun, Griselda, it's Conway the Machine, Benny the Butcher. Who else we got? Before we talk about any other artists on the album, let's go back a little bit. When did these guys come out? They came out like what, 2017? I mean, when did they really start gaining traction? Like 18, something like that?
Yeah, probably around 18.
And I would say since then, they've been the most consistent group as far as bringing quality beats and quality bars and quality, playlists. They're not just dropping albums with a few tracks on it and then there's a bunch of filler tracks where you could just skip. I mean, they're dropping, you could listen to it front to back. I mean, if you're a real hip hop rap fan, you need to know who West Side Gun and the Griselda Boys are. They're doing it up. They're getting all the good beats. They're putting on a lot.
That luxury street rap.
There you go. Luxury.
There's nobody
street
who does
rap.
it better.
Yep. If you like that grimy,
nobody doing it like them.
That grimy, airy. I mean, and I can't even box them in like that because they got the production on all their stuff. Westside gives his producers so much like leeway and he's given these young cats an opportunity to make him beats and to put big names and quality artists on those beats and to give them shine. And it's just a beautiful thing. Fashion, hip hop, blending them together. And it's got, 21 tracks. 21 tracks on it. It's gonna take us into 2024. I'm gonna be riding with this one for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, after first listen, I really enjoy it. And you know me, I can't get enough of Stove God Cooks, the lyrics, the features. Like that's what I look forward to as soon as I hit the album on Tidal or whatever. and it's just good stuff, man. And I know it's kind of like they stay inside their box a little bit, and he steps out here and there with some of the different features and stuff, but like it's just delivers quality. I'm never disappointed press and play on the Griselda release. Never.
Absolutely, and you touched on it real quick. Stove God Cooks, Stovey. We've been waiting for another album from him. It's been a while, but with this album, he's got about 5 or 6 features on it. So we got a little bit to hold us down until he drops something. But for those who don't know, Google Stove God Cooks. He's one of our new favorite rappers that's out right now. I mean, his bars are entertaining, and how would you describe his bars? Luxury street rap?
Yeah, it's still kind of luxury street rap. I mean, his wordplay and his punchlines are kind of up there with like elite.
They're outside the box.
His flow is excellent. He's starting to branch out and do more hooks.
It's fun.
The album Reasonable Drought, one of my favorite albums. That was a couple years ago, but it holds up. I think if you're gonna check out anything, check out that album. It's excellent. All produced by Rock Marciano. It's an excellent album, top to bottom.
Absolutely. Anything else you wanna touch on music wise before we move on to our sports?
I did listen to it was a single, Larry June featuring Cardo. I don't have the name off the head, but another very good release. Maybe a little smoother of a vibe than Gun, but those two get together, man. It's like Shaq and Kobe. It's Mike and Scotty. I can't get enough. I wish it was warmer outside where I'm at, but other than that, I mean, just perfect.
And just real quick, and Then You Pray For Me, West Side Gun album dropped today. He's got Rick Ross on it. I'm just naming some people outside the umbrella. He's got Jeezy on
Drama.
it. He got Jeezy on it. Drama. ESTG. Is that how you say his name? ESTG.
I think so, yeah.
Or is it SG? I don't know. ESTG.
I think it's EST.
Yeah, Ty Dolla $ign. Jid.
Yeah,
that Jeezy track was pretty dope. I like that Jeezy track.
Yeah, it's a good one. That's one of those where it's like you're not kind of expecting like him and Jeezy, but it sounds really good.
Yeah, it does. And then we got a good Bodie James. We love Bodie James.
Jalen
Shout
Rose.
out Bodie James. Yeah, I love that Jalen Rose track.
Yeah, I mean another one, man, where the flow with the wordplay is just it's an upper echelon than what you're gonna get through a lot of the mainstream rap these days. Maybe it's not something that is gonna sell 400,000 in the first week, but I mean it's real rap, it's street rap, it's grimy rap, it's kind of like the original stuff, it's worth checking out.
It's boutique street. But yeah, moving on from that, go check out that album. But moving on from that, Bears Vikings preview. We got to get into it, man, because I'm excited. We are, we're looking good. Bears look horrible first 3 weeks. Offense finally put points on the board. Week 4 against the Broncos? Am I right?
Yeah.
Week 4 against the Broncos, we put some points on the board. We had a second half flop. We lost the game. Came out next week, Thursday night, beat the Commanders, looked really good, and now Fields and Moore look very dangerous. So, and here's a little stat. I wanted to bring this to you. DJ Moore was the NFC Offensive Player of the Week, right? He was the first Bear to do it since 1999. Did you know that? Did you hear this?
What are you saying, the first Bear, or was it the first Bears receiver?
It was the first Bears, I guess it's the first Bears receiver to be named.
Yeah, I think it's the first Bears receiver to win NFC Player of the Week.
Right, okay.
Since, Marcus Robinson.
Marcus Robinson in 1999. And that year, he had 84 catches, 1,400 yards. The only bright spot in that Dick Duran coach team, we had, I looked up that year, too. We had 3 different quarterbacks start for us. That was Jim Miller and, some other trash.
Matthews.
Yeah. And the only bright spot on that team was Cuckoo Robinson,
Yeah, and I remember Marcus Robinson and Rex Grossman had a couple decent seasons together where they actually, like, I remember Marcus Robinson being on the McDonald's Cups, and I'm sure that was locally.
Yeah,
But
that's
still,
local.
that's a Bears receiver on like a low. I thought, wow, I mean, crazy, right?
Yeah.
Unheard of.
Yeah, and then we traded him away. Do you know who we traded him to? I forgot where he went.
I don't remember.
That's neither here nor there. Let's talk about Bears Vikings. You know, it's a Sunday game, right?
Yeah, noon.
What are we first off, let's talk a little bit on the Vikings side. Vikings are going to be without their big guy. What's his name again?
Yeah, the number one receiver in the league, probably.
They're going to be out without
No JJ.
their number one receiver. Kirko Cousins is not looking too sharp out there. They're 0. What are they? 1-5, 1-4 now? 1-5.
They're
I had
1-4.
I had it pulled up. I'm being slow.
They're both 1-4. Bears and Vikes.
Bears Vikes 1-4 coming into it. I don't know. Man, our defense. Our defense is ranked 30th. Ugh. You know, the Bears are starting to get healthier. The Bears are starting to get healthier, though. So.
Yeah, they should get the number one corner, Jalen Johnson, back this week. Eddie Jackson was pushing to play. I don't know if he's going to play, but having Jalen back should have a good effect. And plus, some of those backups had some good games when these guys were out.
When your number's called, it's time to play.
You also get Kyler Gordon back this week, who's been out for 4 weeks with a broken hand. So the reinforcements are coming to maybe shore up the secondary. The Bears got to get pressure, but I'd rather have these guys than not, you know?
Absolutely. And where are we at with the running back room right now? Who's healthy?
As of now, the only running back to really practice this week was Deontay Foreman,
right?
Who had been inactive for the last 4 games. He's ready to go. He's going to shoulder the load. And they have a guy they signed off the Titans practice squad who was on the team last year, Darrington Evans. But Roshan, Khalil Herbert, and Travis Homer have not practiced all week.
Right. Roshan had the concussion, right?
Yeah, he had the concussion. He kind of got spun around silly over there. That was a big hit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Sunday noon kickoff, I'll be watching. If the Vikings lose this game, what do you think they should do? Are they going to blow it up? Justin Jefferson's gone. They going to trade him, or are they going to keep him, right?
Yeah, I don't think they would trade Jefferson. They may try to prevent him from coming back quicker, but I don't think they'll trade him. All the talk is, will Cousins accept the trade? He's got a no-trade clause. Will they trade him? Will they trade him?
Right,
they probably should. They probably should tank. I mean, that's just the modern sports nowadays. But
yeah, if they lose this game, they should tank. I don't know why Kirk Cousins wouldn't accept a trade to the Jets. I mean, that team needs a quarterback, and he's the guy that can put that ball in those receivers' hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the capital is. I don't know what the Jets have. I know they're probably going to give a second for Rodgers, so I'm not sure what they want to get into. But it seems like something that they would be. They should explore those options. No shade to Zach Wilson, but you can explore options and maybe solidify the floor of that team.
Yeah, I mean, whatever your criticism of Kirk Cousins is, the guy is a solid quarterback that can throw the ball. You know what I mean? He just can't. I don't know. Just can't put it all the way together.
Yeah, he's probably not going to drag your team to victory by himself, but with a decent roster. I mean, we've seen him get into big games. We've seen him win some decent playoff matchups. I believe he's got maybe a couple wins. It's not unheard of to think that he could advance that team because they got a good defense, they got a great running back, they got a top tier receiver. They kind of got everything you need. Maybe the O-line's a little shaky though, but otherwise, I would like their chances if they were to acquire him.
What do you want to see from Justin Fields this week?
Just consistency, right? So, I mean, I would assume the Vikings will try to take away more. He's probably not going to get too many single coverage if they're smart. So I want to see consistency in him able to keep the momentum going. I mean, he's going to be at home. The team's coming off a big win. I'm sure they're pretty fired up, and they see the injured Vikings team thinking they can win. I want to see him do it. I want to see the foot on the throat of the Vikings. Get it done.
Yeah, he's playing to his instincts now, and he needs to follow his instincts. And first, second read, I don't know where he is in his progression thus far in his career, but first, second read, don't see it, let's run. Let's get it going. I think Justin Fields needs to get hit early in the game to get in the game. He seems like a guy that can't just, if you're just going to keep him in the pocket to start the game and keep him clean without any contact, I don't think he gets in the game that quick. You know what I'm saying? I think he needs to get out there, run, get hit real quick, and now game's on. Now the game's on.
He definitely is a guy who he definitely is a rhythm passer.
Absolutely.
So, if you get him some easy, you scheme him some early looks, get him going, that can kind of carry him for the rest of the game. He's really he seems to be that kind of streaky. And if you kind of have these disjointed drives as they've had in the first couple of weeks, and he was uneasy about where he wanted to go with the ball, it's been night and day those last 2 weeks, though. It really has been.
Don't know what to expect. That's what I'm saying. I mean, we really don't know what to expect. They kind of started, he came on, mid-season last year and then, took off crazy. So maybe slow start this year and he starts to take off again. So we can only hope. But where are we at with Cole Kmet? What's up with that hamstring? Because I didn't hear about that until next thing I know, I'm checking my fantasy team and he's got a questionable on him.
It doesn't sound too consuming. It sounds kind of like seasonal wear and tear, right? You're gonna have some issue. I don't think he'll miss the game. He's not really fast either, though. Anyway, but he'll probably be out there, I would assume. And he's been pretty valuable when Fields is going well. He usually gets 4 or 5 looks a game at least.
Safety blanket. Yep.
And he's big. He's a big target. If you get him in the red zone, he's a big guy. He should be able to go up and get it. He's got that skill. He's got the go waggy.
I'm taking Bears 20. I'm going to go Bears 26, Vikings 23. Field goal.
Yeah, I was gonna go 31-27. Bears win.
Okay.
And I think I wanted to say this though, because it shouldn't be overlooked. The return of Tevin Jenkins on the offensive line had the offensive line looking pretty good versus a very good pass rush of Washington. Tevin Jenkins is a pretty decent player. He's got injury concerns, but when he's out there, it helps solidify things on that offensive front, and it really looks better with him than it did with the backup or with Lucas Patrick, whoever else was in there. He's a key piece, believe it or not. That the kid from Oklahoma State, the kind of nerdy looking kid in the draft pick, is a key nasty cog to the front of that offensive line.
No, the guy can play. I mean, what was he, a first-round pick, right? He was a first-round pick.
Second. He was projected as a first, but the injury concerns took him to early second.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he can play if he stays healthy. He does have a mean spirit to him. I've watched some of his interviews. Yeah, I mean,
him and Nate Davis up front with Whitehair at center. Whitehair's maybe iffy at center, but it's just a more solid front, and it's better for the running back, better for Justin, better all around. And then you get that right tackle on pulling on a couple of those like he likes to do, and bowling over some of those defenders, those littler safeties and stuff. It looks good at times.
Hell yeah. And that's what you get here on this show is you get in-depth O-line talk. We give love to the O-line.
Hey, you gotta show love to the big boys, man.
The big boys in the trenches got to get love. Hey, I was a left tackle in high school, so I know what it's about. All right. Go Bears. We're moving on. Monday Night Football, we have a big matchup. Cowboys got to get back on the right track, man. Cowboys got to get back on the right track. I mean, they played the 49ers last week. They didn't get a first down, I don't believe, until the second quarter. And
yeah,
it's crazy, and then you had Jerry Jones come out. I didn't read the complete context of his comment. I'm sure it was taken out of context a little bit. He says something about I'd rather get the ball to the tight end other than CeeDee Lamb? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen that quote too, and I was like, I don't know what he's really talking about. It's not like they have like an elite tight end where it's like Kyle Pitts, and it's like, yeah, you need to get that guy the ball. They got Ferguson. I don't know. I don't get it.
I mean, it's just, they're playing the Chargers. Chargers are, coming off a bye. They're getting healthy. Cowboys are coming off a whooping. Questions about Mike McCarthy again. And, they're playing it's the revenge game for Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Revenge game for Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is going to open up his box of tricks. He's had 2 weeks to prepare for his ex-team. And he's going to open it up on him. So
yeah, no Mike Williams done for the year, but Austin Eckler is going to return. That's a big piece to that offense.
Yeah, no Mike Williams. I lost him on my fantasy, but what are you gonna do? And another game. Remember last week when we talked 49ers Cowboys? I brought up the point. CeeDee Lamb, except for one game, has only had 4 receptions in all the other games. He only had 4 receptions in the 49ers game. He went 4 for 49. Unbelievable. This guy should be one of the top 3 receivers in the game right now. I mean, they have a weapon that is untapped potential right now, and they're just not getting the ball to him. I don't know what's going on.
They got a lot of skill in that team, and I don't know what's going on with the offense. I don't get it. It can't all just be Dak. I know the offensive line was banged up. They got 3 starters back over the last 2 games, but I don't understand it. I mean, the Niners are a tough defense. I get it, but they lost to the Arizona Cardinals. They couldn't score red zone touchdowns. They can't score in the red zone. And I mean, I love Tony Pollard, big Tony Pollard guy. Get him the ball, feed him. But in the red zone, they look lost, and Dak kind of. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. It's not clicking. Something's not clicking with the team.
Tony Pollard, freaking 8 carries, 29 yards in that game. 8
carries. Had a touchdown since week 1.
Ugh, disgusting.
Yeah, I know, and he's electric too. The skill's evident. It just hasn't looked. Nothing's really looked smooth for the Dallas offense at all, except for the kicker.
Get it together, Mike McCarthy.
Yeah. I mean, if he doesn't get it together, we know where he's headed. He's out of there. There's no way Jerry can justify keeping him again.
I mean, I don't really fully even guarantee he's out of there. The way Jerry Jones handles business, he'll keep Mike McCarthy around for the next decade as long as he's, on the above 500, I guess. But
well,
go ahead.
Cowboys fans are loyal, so I get it. They're gonna keep coming. They're gonna keep filling that stadium up no matter what. But at some point here, I mean, the clock's ticking. It hasn't been 1995 for a long time.
That's right. Justin Herbert,
I'm a big Chargers fan. I like Chargers are probably my second team to watch this year. I love Justin Herbert. I like the offense. I like Keenan Allen. The coach. I used to like the coach a lot. I kind of sold some of my stock after some of these decisions over the last couple of seasons, but I really enjoy watching the Chargers. So I'm excited to watch this one.
Yeah, I like Justin Herbert. The guy is a good quarterback. He's been in, his stats are about half of what Dak is, but he's only been in the league half the time. But yeah, I mean, you got any predictions on the game? I think, the Chargers defense is not all that great. I mean, they got Khalil Mack. I think they have a couple injuries over there, but they're not exactly lighting the world on fire on that side of the ball.
They need Bosa back. I'm not sure if he's playing or not, but he goes a long way to the defense.
Yeah, but
Derwin James.
But with that being said, the offense for the Cowboys should definitely get back on track this week. They need to put up some points and
excuses.
Start believing in themselves again. And that defense needs to come back around and show the league, what they're capable of.
They've been getting banged up though. They lost Van Der Esch, and obviously they lost the corner. Micah Parsons does a lot of heavy lifting, but it's going to be tough because I mean, without Van Der Esch is pretty big, so without him, and if they rush Parsons like they do, there's probably gonna be a lot of short passes and dump offs to Austin Eckler that may gash the Cowboys defense. We'll see though.
So real quick, let's get into playoff baseball. We got the Phillies, Arizona, and we got the Texas Showdown, baby.
Yeah, it's big.
Stros Rangers, let's go. And I'm hoping that Max Scherzer is ready to go. Because we need that. We need that arm. I almost forgot.
Yeah, Scherzer versus Verlander.
Yeah, you can't see me right now, but I'm actually wearing my Rangers jersey and hat. So we're excited for that. I'm scheming out tickets. I might go to Game 3 next Wednesday. I'm trying to see if that's a possibility financially. But yeah, I mean, I don't have, Philly. I mean, what can you say? I mean, they got Harper.
I applaud the Phillies ownership, man, because they got to the World Series last year, and they didn't rest on their laurels this year. They went out and they signed one of the best free agents available, probably the free agent available, Trey Turner. Got off to a rough start. Has been balling since July, maybe. He hasn't missed a beat since then, and I love that. I love when the ownership's willing to spend to put the team in position. I know it didn't really work out for the Mets or the Padres, but I mean, I'm in Chicago. We're Cubs fans still. I like the Cubs a lot, but ownership gets timid about spending money, and I see a team go out and get Turner and get to where they want to go. I'm kind of rooting for the Phillies right now.
Yeah, I kind of am too. I mean, I like the attitude on that side of the ball. Harper, don't call him out. Don't call him out.
You watch your mouth around Bryce Harper.
Watch your mouth, all right? Hey, yo.
It'll make you pay.
Hey, yo, watch your mouth around Harper. And then they got our boy Schwarbs. So
yeah, Schwarber, Mr. October.
We love Schwarber on this side. So I'd like to see a Philly Rangers World Series. That would be a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it'd be really fun. I don't really like the Astros. I'm not. It's not that I hate them because of the cheating or whatever, but you just don't really care for them like that,
Nah,
It's not my squad.
It's not my squad either. I'm a
good players though. I respect Tucker. You respect Framber Valdez a lot. He's a good pitcher. They got some good players over there. It's not like a bunch of guys I just hate. Bregman. They got Chicago White Sox legend Jose Abreu. Like it'd be nice to see him maybe win something. That's like the only consolation I could see from them winning the World Series would be Jose Abreu getting a ring. And I mean, we can't forget about the Diamondbacks. I know it's easy to overlook them almost every season. I mean, who had them getting to the playoffs? Who had them getting this far? Nobody. Corbin Carroll, for real. They got a lot of young talent. They got a couple aces up top with Gallen and I can't think of the other dude's name, but it's going to be some fun baseball. I'm not a huge baseball guy when my teams aren't playing, but I'm definitely checking the box scores. I'm definitely checking the highlights. And I like all the chippiness, man. Chippiness makes sports more interesting.
Yeah, and it was unexpected this year. I don't think anybody, if you asked anybody in Texas or the North Texas, Dallas area, if the Rangers were going to do anything this year, I mean, yes, we're taking steps forward, but when they brought in Bruce Bochy, okay, and with the squad they got, I don't think anybody expected them to, to be where they are right now.
Well, especially after the injury to DeGrom, right? If you had DeGrom pitching 20 games and doing his thing where he never gives up runs, you would have been like, all right, that's how they're getting there. But no, DeGrom's gone, and once again, ownership for Texas, hats off to him. Your number one guy goes down, you push your chips in, you go get Max Scherzer, you go get Jordan Montgomery, you go out and get some players, man. You spend that money, and I'm rooting for Texas because they spent the money. Owners who spend money, I applaud them because the owners who do it cheap, I mean, there's no winning in that. There's no valor in that. It's trash. Look at the Rays.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Go out and get your guys, man. Go out and try to compete. Bring the fans in. The fans will appreciate it. Trust me.
they got Chapman, they got Max
Yeah,
Scherzer.
they did pick up Chapman. Yeah,
Scherzer. I mean, the bats are coming out. Corey
Corey
Seager.
Seager,
I mean,
Simeon.
yep.
I like that
Garcia.
catcher DH. They got Haim, and then they got Mitch Garver. I like.
So go Rangers, man. We're really hoping the Rangers make it. Looking for October baseball is fun. It's small ball. The game changes for sure. It's not like
Yeah.
regular season ball. You want to get on. We're stealing bases. We're dropping bunts. We're doing the small things to get on.
Manager might pull the starter after 3 innings.
You're gonna dig into that bullpen as quick as possible. You might bring a starter in. The next game.
Yeah,
so
it gets wonky at times. Yeah.
So there you have it. We another show for us, and
Good stuff, man. Always
good stuff. We're gonna try to keep this a weekly thing as we get into our groove, and hopefully, the goal in 2004 is I want to start a Patreon, and maybe do a second show for Patreon, and maybe get a little bit more edgier, maybe talk about a little other things, and then charge $5 a month. We'll see. I'm still working the kinks out on that. If I can get enough support for that. So
yeah, Annie up for the goods. It can get spicy.
All right. Well, it was great talking to you, brother. I'll hit you up in the chats.
All right, man. Go Bears. I'll be in touch. Holla.
All right, go Bears. There you have it. That was Big Mike. Thank you, Big Mike, for coming through. We appreciate it. We always have a good talk. So, and that's it. That's the Chris G Show. Tune in next week. I'm going to try to get these. I don't really have a set schedule on when I'm going to drop these. It takes time to edit these up and upload it up and do the audio, do the video, sync them up and everything. I got a full-time job, a full-time career. I'm trying to keep up, but go Rangers. Go Rangers. Hopefully Cowboys get back on track, and go Bears.